welcome back to my channel. If you're new to my channel, my name's Rhonda, better known as Hot Mess Momma MD, and on today's video, it's another edition of Is It a Dupe or Just a Waste of Money? What we're going to be testing out, trying out, and creating this look is the brand new, just released Cult Mythos palette by Bad Habit. It does retail for $24 on the Shop Hush or the Hush app. We are going to be testing this up against the highly crazy expensive but cult favorite Pat McGrath Mothership to Sublime palette, which does retail for a hefty, painful $125. I know you guys are reading me to filth down in the comments below, but yeah, I did it. I bought it. Here it is. Anyways, if you guys are interested to see whether or not this $24 palette is a dupe for the highly crazy expensive $125 palette, then let's go ahead and get started. So getting into the palette, this is your nice little standard cardboard type of palette that you just kind of expect from any of the Shop Hush palettes. And on the back you do have the names of each shadow. Another thing I do want to mention is this palette is good expiration wise for 12 months. It is cruelty free, and as far as the gram weight, it is 17.8 grams, and each individual shadow in here is a total of 0.63 ounces, so you are getting a very good size pan. It does have a nice little mirror in here, and then I got this from Sephora, a box and some paper dunnage, and I'm like, oh, for what you pay, for what you flip and pay. I know I'm gonna hear so much about it, what I paid, in the comments down below, but yeah, $125. By the time tax is done, 130, so I'm done talking about it that fast. So yeah, they should wrap this beautiful thing the way Shop Hush wraps. So Sephora, take a tip, baby. It does say it is made in Italy. This does say it was made in the PRC, and I've touched on that. Just because it's made in the PRC does not mean it's sold there. Therefore, that is why if it's not sold there, they can say it is cruelty free. Now, moving on to this does say it has a shelf life of 30 months. I pretty much want the rest of my life, okay, for what you pay, but moving on. It does say on here that the entire, all the shadows is 13.2 grams, and each pan is 0.47 ounces, so you're actually getting more in this palette right here. Now, like I said, it does retail for $125. When you open it up, it's bougie as I'll get out. Oh my gosh. Nice hard packaging. You guys, look at this. Is this not gorgeous? Okay, yeah, I know. Some of you guys are sitting there going, not $125 gorgeous. I get it, guys. I get it. Let's just move on from that. Let's enjoy this Pat McGrath packaging because it's flipping gorgeous, okay? It's very heavy. And then you open it up and it's like, I'm pretty sure I heard the gods singing to me. Look at that. It's just so pretty, guys. And look at this mirror, this beveled mirror. Oh my goodness. It's just flippin' gorgeous. So of course I'm going to do a side-by-side. You guys are probably like, oh my gosh, girl, move along. I can't. I'm sorry. I'm like crazy excited over this. So here is the side-by-side. Are you guys as shook as I am? Because I'm pretty daggone shook. Okay, so on the bottom is all of the Bad Habit shades. You'd have to use this arm, guys. And Bad Habit's on the bottom. Pat McGrath is on top. I mean, you guys can see the shades are pretty identical, if not completely identical. I mean, look at the shimmers. Do you see that? I mean, I will say the Pat McGrath, which is on top, the shimmers between the gold and this green are pretty intense and like practically melt once they warm up on your skin. But as for everything else, it is almost identical. I just want to let you guys know, if you are sensitive to talc, there is definitely talc in these palettes. Okay guys, so if you are new to Is It a Dupe or Just a Waste of Money, what I do is I apply eyeshadows from the high-end palette on one side, and then eyeshadows from the less expensive palette on the other side. I do use the exact same brushes, meaning I'm not going to use a MAC or Morphe on one side and a Sigma or Real Techniques on the other side. I use the exact same brush, however, I do clean it off completely in between the application process on the other side. So we're gonna go ahead and get started. I am gonna go ahead and this is probably silly, but this is the way I'm gonna remember it. I am going to be using the Bad Habit side on my wedding ring side, and then the Pat McGrath on my, right side, which is my right hand. I don't really know what it reverts over to you guys, but anyways, so later on or in the beginning, I have to remember to remind myself in the intro to tell you guys, is it the wedding band side or is it the non-wedding band side? Okay, so anyways, we're gonna go ahead and get started. I am gonna go ahead and start with the Mythos palette, the Bad Habit palette. We are gonna do it on this side. I am gonna go ahead and just apply this all over my entire lid. I did use the Born This Way concealer, and I have been setting my concealer with my Hourglass Luminous Light Ambient powder. I actually use that, and I feel like when I do that, I actually get like that less textured type of look. Anyways, let's go ahead and get into it. I am going to go ahead and, like I said, apply this shade from the Bad Habit palette all over my lid. This is going to be a talk through. I am going to be using my Morphe 576 fluffy brush to apply this shadow. So what I'm going to do now is I am going to just jump right into this shade. I will tell you guys that even in both palettes, there is fallout with it, so you have to be really careful. I'm going to go ahead and apply this beautiful green shade with just my e.l.f. flat eyeshadow brush. It was like $1, and we are going to just go ahead and go in dry with it. You actually can go in dry with this. You can definitely use a little Max Fix Plus spritz to it. Make sure to tap your brush because it is going to cause some fallout. I'm going to just do the entire lid. I know you guys may be a little bummed because I'm not going to be using a ton of different shadows out of this palette, only because I have been playing around with it, and when I do too many, especially of these baked shimmers, it just looks crazy. So anyways, I am going to pack that on here like so. You guys can see it's really pretty, and the color that you see in this pan is definitely what transfers onto the lid. Now, I am going to just go ahead and use a little bit of MAC Fix Plus on here. I'm going to apply some to my brush, and then while it's on my brush, I will be spraying it with the MAC. Now, mind you, it does say on here that if you use your finger, you do get more of that bold look to it. So I am going to go ahead and apply a little bit with my finger as well, just on top, and they are right. You really do, it does really pop, guys. So I have just a little bit of fallout, but again, I knew that going in. I knew that was going to be a problem that I had. So that is just something, like I said, to note that you guys are going to see the fallout, but it's not just on the Bad Habit side. You're going to see it over on the Pat McGrath side. So moving over to the Pat McGrath side, I am going to be using my Morphe 576 brush with this shade right here. Isn't this, oh my god, it's so luxe. So you're going to notice, I don't know if my camera picks it up, but there is quite a bit of kick up or in this shade. Just like I say with Anastasia or any brand, it's not the end of the world. Okay, going in with my e.l.f. flat brush, I am going to go into this gorgeous emerald green, and I have not wet the brush at all. We're going to go ahead and just pack that on the lid the exact same way. Oh, it's so pretty. Next, what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to apply some to my brush, then I'm going to spray it with my MAC Fix Plus. Okay, and we're just going to go ahead and tap that on there. And then the next thing I'm going to do is just apply it with my finger, like so. Tap, tap, tap. Oh my god. Now I'm going to jump back over to my Bad Habit palette. I'm going to go in with this shade, and I'm actually going to focus it in the crease and above this green. Again, using my Morphe 576 fluffy brush. I'm going to jump over to my Pat McGrath palette, and we're going to use the exact same one with our Morphe 576 brush. I definitely feel like the Pat McGrath side is a bit smoother. I'm going to add a little bit more of the Pat McGrath green to the lid. Just to be fair, I am going to go back over to the Bad Habit side and apply more of the green as well. Okay, so on the lower part, I'm going to go back into the Bad Habit palette. I'm going to use this shade right here and use a little bit of that with a Juno & Company pencil brush ES08. That's it. We're going to apply some of that under here. I will say, like, the green is underneath my eye too, so there is a lot of fallout, guys. Okay, I love this color because it's bringing warmth back. I feel like that brown was so cool tone mixed with this cool tone green. It's looking a little crazy on my eyes. Like, I may end up just redoing my whole face. I don't know. Now what I'm going to do is jump over to the Pat McGrath side and use the same brush, and we're going to go in with this shade again underneath the eye. I will say this doesn't seem as pigmented as the Bad Habit side. And then last but not least, I am going to go ahead, jump back over to the Bad Habit side, use this as a brow bone highlight and an inner corner highlight. Same deal with the Pat McGrath side. We're going to go in and do the same brow bone highlight, inner corner highlight. I'm going to hop off here. I'm going to do my liner and my lashes. I'll be right back and give you guys my final thoughts. Okay guys, so I am back with my mascara and my liner. As far as liner goes, I fake a wing, guys, with this Pretty Vulgar and this Morphe, what is this, PK45 angled brush. What I do is kind of stamp it on there, and then on each side I did take this shade right here and then kind of go over that gel liner just to kind of set it. And same with the Pat McGrath side. I went in with this dark shade right here, and I mean, you could tell I got a little crazy. So this, of course, this side's a little bit thicker than this side, but it is what it is. I'm just not a wing queen. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and zoom you guys in so you can have a look at the final look that we created. Okay, so again, this is the Bad Habit Mythos side, and this is the Pat McGrath Mothership, whichever number it is, I don't know, side. Okay, so you guys see, and I'm looking into the monitor, and like I said, this was not my favorite look, but once I added all the mascara and the liner on, and then I did kind of deepen up the underneath part with this shade on the Bad Habit side, and then, hold on, let's go. And then this shade over here on the Pat McGrath side, which you guys saw before I cut out to add my liner. You guys saw that it was very, very pigmented on the Bad Habit side, and I really kind of had to build up this shade on the Pat McGrath side. Either way, guys, I cannot tell a difference at all as far as this look goes. I do not think whatsoever you can tell that there are two different palettes, much less one that's $125 plus a lot of tax and one that's $24. Let me go ahead, zoom you guys out, and I'm gonna give you my final thoughts. Okay, so my final thoughts on this palette right here, $24. Of course, I need to put a, you know, wear time in this video. I don't know how this is going to wear throughout the day, but as of right now, what I can tell you about this palette, I have heard nonstop that Pat McGrath shadows are like holy grail status types of shadows. Were they easy to work with? Absolutely. Did they blend out nice? Absolutely. Are they gorgeous on the eye? Yep, they definitely are. I do think that, you know, like I told you guys when I was applying them, I do feel that they have more of like a blend into the skin, melt into the skin, almost like an hourglass type of highlighter or the bronzer or the blush, like any of the hourglass powders just blend into the skin beautifully, like the Natasha Denona highlighter. It just beautiful. So as far as that goes, yes, I definitely see a difference as far as the way that it just melts and molds into the skin. Now, that may not be something that my camera is picking up, and so, you know, that is just something that you guys really probably aren't gonna notice or see unless you are literally doing this look yourself. As far as, you know, the bad habit side, you know, like I said, it looks very similar color-wise, but I do see a difference formula-wise. I don't know how this is gonna wear. As far as look-wise, definitely 100% say this is a wonderful dupe for the Pat McGrath palette. As far as, you know, the look, I would never guess that there are two different palettes on my eyes. I just think that, you know, this, if you are really critiquing and really staring down, then I think you're gonna see what I'm talking about as far as it melting into the skin on the Pat McGrath side. But other than that, for me personally, I totally think that this is a wonderful dupe. I'm still on the fence on, do I really feel it's worth the $24? I don't feel like it's worth that. Maybe 20 or 18, you know, because you are getting more product in this particular palette than you are for, say, the Solstice or the Supernova palette, and those are dupes for the Natasha Denonas. But you know, I think that the $24 is a big stretch. I think that if Bad Habit and Shop Hush or Hush were to come out with these palettes and say they were $18 to $20, I think more of y'all would be on board with it. Yes, I wasn't happy with the way the Mystics wore. There was some creasing. It definitely had the fallout there. But at the same time, the way I'm starting to look at things is, you know, when you go with a dramatic eye look like this, are you really wearing it for 14, 16 hours a day? Because I know for me personally, I'm not. So for this look, for a nice evening out, a date night, something like that, I would at least want to get 4 to 6 hours. So if I can get 4 to 6 hours out of this look right here on the Bad Habit side, then I'm definitely going to tell you guys that I think the Mystics or the Mythos palette is going to be worth it. So I'm definitely going to do a check-in probably about the 6-hour mark for you guys, so you guys can see how it's worn. I just don't feel like for this particular dramatic look, that's just not something that I'm gonna get, you know, 10 to or 12 to 16 hours out of this particular look. That's just me personally. Just to let you guys know, I did tell you guys this is not a first impression. I will be coming back. I will be doing more looks with this palette, so don't worry about that. If you do pick up this palette, you will be seeing more looks from me with this palette, so you guys can get ideas. That is something that I have been trying to tell you guys. I am coming back. I am showing you guys how I created these looks and different looks, so you don't just look and say, oh my gosh, this is the only look I can get out of this palette. So definitely don't worry, I'll be coming back with even the Mystics palette and doing different looks for you guys. Overall, I do think this was a good palette. We'll see how it wears throughout the day. Hopefully it wears at least for the 6-hour mark. Very, very nice. Of course, I'm going to go in and I'll do one a little bit longer and show you guys hopefully like maybe at the 10-hour mark how this wears. So definitely be checking for that. If I haven't already inserted the clip, which I'm already talking like I have, but if I haven't, it's coming. Both clips are coming now, Rhonda. Now insert the clip. Hey guys, okay, so we are at about 4 hours, almost 5 hours for this eye look. Now remember, this is the Bad Habit side. This is the Pat McGrath side. I'm trying to stand next to my window so you guys can see. Hopefully the light is adjusting accordingly. I think everything is holding up very, very well. I will tell you guys that at about like the first hour to 2 hours, and it's still a little itchy, but for whatever reason, there is something going on or something in the Bad Habit formula that is irritating this eye. Now, I don't really have sensitive eyes at all. I don't wear contacts or anything, so I don't know what has caused that. It's gotten much better throughout the time of wearing it, so whatever may have gotten in my eye, maybe a sparkle or something, just really irritated it, but it's doing much better now. But I did want to, you know, let you guys know, as I told you guys back in the swatches, there is talc in this product, actually in both of them. So I'm not allergic to talc. If you are sensitive to it, that is something you may want to think about. But other than that, I think that they are wearing great. And like I told you guys, this is the Pat McGrath side. Like I told you guys, for a date night or something like that, dad, out with the girls, out with the friends, whatever it may be, I would feel the best if this held up at least the 6-hour mark. So if I don't catch you guys at the 6-hour mark, I will at least get you later on tonight before I jump in the shower and everything. But as of right now, I'm trying to like get up good for you guys. I don't notice like a huge difference at all, other than the fact that maybe I got a little higher up on the Pat McGrath side. But we're not gonna judge the blending skills or the lack thereof, okay guys? Okay, you know this is a judgment-free channel. So anyways, I will catch you guys in the next check-in. Hey guys, okay, it's been about 9.5 hours. I wanna do my final check-in. And I'm going to insert a clip after this one where I'm trying to explain by showing you guys on my wrist that what I'm trying to talk about as far as the melt goes with the Pat McGrath side. As you guys can see, both sides were absolutely beautifully. Now, I know I did not have this on as long as I did the Bad Habit Mystics palette, but you guys can still see this wore really well, like really well. Asking my husband, he does not notice a difference whatsoever. However, I will tell you guys, my son had piano tonight, and I was chit-chatting with his piano teacher, who is very much into skincare and makeup, and I asked her, do you see a difference by chance on either one of my eyes? And I said, because I will give you a hint that one eye did have a high-end palette on it, and the other one had a very less expensive, like by $100 cheaper palette. And I mean, she just kind of glanced, and without even thinking twice, she pointed to my Pat McGrath side, and she said, that eye, there's just something different about it. It's smoother. It's just, and I'm like, looks like it's melted into the skin. She goes, yes, that's it. So I sat here and I played in my studio a little bit with the shades, trying to show you guys like a good way that I could really show you guys how, what I mean when I'm saying it looks literally like it has melted into the skin, and it's just like a color part of the skin, versus on this side where it just kind of sits on top of the skin. It doesn't look bad, it still looks very pretty, and for what you pay for a Pat McGrath palette, this is what I want. You know, it's the same like a Natasha Denona. I mean, if I am paying high dollar for it, I want it to look fabulous, you know? So anyways, overall, my final thoughts on the Bad Habit palette. I do think it was a great palette. I think that you will be able to achieve the exact same look, at least with the colors I chose, that, you know, to the Pat McGrath. I think that definitely. However, if you have the money for the Pat McGrath, I think it's like, you might want to try it, put it on your bucket list, whatever. I'm not mad about it. I definitely love the palette. And like I said, I'm going to insert this clip where I am talking about the wrist and trying to explain to you guys better in detail what I'm talking about that melt, because I know neither one of my cameras is picking up what I'm trying to put down. I'm a cheese. I'm going to bed. Okay, guys. So what I've done is I've taken some of right here. This is all of the Pat McGrath gold shade. This side right here is the Bad Habits. So what I'm trying to, and then this one is Bad Habit, that maroon one is the Pat McGrath. What I was trying to show my husband is, do you see how on the Bad Habit gold it just kind of sits on the skin? Same with that maroon shade. But then when you move over here to the Pat McGrath, how it looks like it literally has just melted into the skin. Like it's there, but it's like skin. Where over here, it's like sitting on the skin. Do you guys see it? He does not. There's the difference that I was trying to explain to you guys that is going on my lids. Anyways, that's all for today's video. If you'd like to see more of my videos, I'll have some pop up on either side of me, as well as if you'd like to see more of my content, I will have my icon click up on either side. It's just my face. If you click on my face, you will be subscribed to my channel. If you click it, I think it's like 2 times when it asks if you want to be subscribed, but then subscribed and notified. Click that one more time and you'll be notified every time that I upload a video. I do upload all of my beauty videos 5 days a week, Monday through Friday at noon Eastern Standard Time. On the weekends, I have been putting up family vlogs or a lot of my keto low carb vlogs. It's just about my lifestyle and journey doing the low carb keto diet. So if you're interested in that, make sure you are subscribed. Those go up Saturdays and Sundays, anywhere from Saturdays at 9, Sundays about 4:30, 5 o'clock, so be watching for those. And until next time, my friends, as always, I hope you have a wonderful, beautiful, and blessed day. Kisses from Kentucky. Bye.